Hello, dear children. Today we are going to continue with tourism and history. We have already started this chapter. We have already discussed tourism in the past. We have also discussed the types of tourism like local and interstate tourism. We have also discussed international tourism. We have discussed historical tourism, which is tourism related to the historical places or places of historical importance. And then we have also discussed geographical tourism. Geographic tourism, that is tourism related to the places of historic importance, sorry, geographical importance. Also, we have discussed health tourism, wherein Ayurveda, yoga we have discussed. For that, those Ayurveda treatments or those yoga treatments, people come to India because also it is India being a tropical region, we have ample of sunlight, and therefore there is sunlight throughout the year, and so many people from cold countries also do travel to India for that sunlight, naturotherapy, Ayurveda treatment, and yoga treatment. Now next is agro-tourism. Agro-tourism, which is also known as agri-tourism, is rapidly developing, especially meant for the urban population which has very little exposure to rural life and agriculture. Now, Indian farmers are also visiting faraway places like agricultural research centers, agricultural universities, and countries like Israel, where experimentation in advanced technology of agriculture is carried out. So children, now there is one more reason to travel, and that reason is agro-tourism. Now basically agro-tourism is So next is tourism based on special events. Now these events can be film festivals, or it can be some musical event like one we have in Pune every year. Bal Gandharva music festival. Then we also have some Sahitya Kala Academy, like related to literature. So there are such festivals which are organized once in a year, and to participate in this in such festivals, or to spectate these festivals, people from far away places come to that particular place wherein those festivals are taking place. So people also do travel for seminars, lectures, and their business meetings. So these are included in the tourism based on special events. Now people want to travel, and they are often on the lookout for special reasons to do it. In the 21st century, it has become common to organize such events, which also help to promote tourism. Film festivals, various types of seminars and conferences, international book exhibitions, etc., are examples of such special events. People keep visiting several places to attend such social events. Many literature enthusiasts in Maharashtra travel every year to attend Akhil Bharatiya Marathi Sahitya Sammelan, that is also called as Pan India Marathi Literary Convention. So now these are the few examples are given here, that such things are organized and people travel for such um, events as well. So if you remember, children, last year in English we had a topic or a chapter called as a true story of sea turtles. So they had organized when they had saved those turtles and helped them survive. So and they also tried towards the preservation and conservation of these sea turtles, which were about to be extinct, as they were declared as endangered species. So later on, when they were successful, they started this as a Kasav Mahotsav, if you all remember. So such events, such are special events, and for these, when people travel from other places to that particular place, it is called as tourism for special events. Now these special events can be film festival, then various types of seminars and conferences, then it can be international book exhibition as well. So these are the few examples. Then there are some other example also, like the Pan India Marathi Literary Convention. So here there is a platform is provided on international level, which is hosted in India, and it is basically related to the literature field. Here we have a picture. Akhil Bharatiya Marathi Sahitya Sammelan, Usmanabad. This was in 2020. Supposed to be in 2020. This was the 93rd year of uh, this Sammelan. So these are the few events wherein people travel for some special event or special occasion as well. So this is tourism based on special events. That's all. These were the types of tourism which we have discussed. Now we'll move ahead to 8.3, development of tourism. Now um, how and why, or what were the reasons for the development of tourism, that we are going to see here. The crucial issue in the development of tourism is providing proper guidance to national and international tourists about various aspects of the actual travel, proper social conduct during the tour and during their stay at the destination places. So now these things are very 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 important whenever there is a tourism. Whenever there has to be a development in tourism, that time there has to be a proper guidance to the national and international tourists about um, various aspects of actual travel. Like if few things are needed and few things are mandatory, like for example you need a visa for few countries. So if you happen to reach out on the airport and that time when you come to know all of a sudden that visa was needed, you will really panic if you, and you'll be very much tensed. So what all things are needed? Then few countries, uh, most of the countries need immigration when you reach there. So all these things have to be told properly depending upon the nature of travel. So if it is a national travel, a few things related to national traveling has to be informed to the people. There has to be some guidance in that aspect. If it is an international traveling, we have our embassies, like all the countries have their embassies in so many countries. So in case of emergencies or in case of any problem, we are supposed to contact those embassies and they help us out. But everyone doesn't know about this. So it is very important that whoever is traveling, for them or to them, this proper guidance has to be given before they even start traveling. Also, proper social conduct during the tour and um proper social conduct during the tour. Now like when we go to different places, so as we have earlier seen that whenever it is inside the same nation, that time almost everything is quite similar. There is not much of a challenge when we travel within the country. But when we travel internationally, there are so many different rules which are followed by those country, and we have to follow uh, or we have to also abide by those rules if we are in that country. So uh, the conduct of a tourist when he is on a tour to some other country, that time his conduct, his behavior has to be very important, or it has to be as the conduct is there in that country. Also, when we have tourists, or like when people from one country go to another country, the country in which they go, those people, the natives there or the local people there, have to have a proper behavior with these tourists as well. It is not that since these are the tourists, these are not the local people, so they can be treated anyhow. For example, we have heard about incidences like when we have foreign tourists here, they are usually overcharged. Like for anything they buy from the market, they are overpriced for that. They are charged more for that. Then we also have stories wherein the taxi drivers or the rickshaw people, they like charge more to them for the same distance as they charge the Indians. So this should not happen. There should not be differentiation. They should be very legally treated and they should have a proper treatment whenever they come to, or rather whenever the tourists go to some other country. So that is also very very important. Their stay at the destination places and during their stay. So when they stay in those places where they have gone, so their stay should also be as per the commitment or whatever was decided beforehand. So all these things play a very important role, because when say if anyone comes to our country from other same any other country, when he goes back and if he doesn't get a good treatment out here, when he goes back to his own country, he will always tell others that this is not a good country or the people here are not good, although that is only a handful of people he or she has come across. But then that becomes the uh, overall image of that particular country. Similarly, if we happen to go to some other country and if we are not very welcome there, or if we are not really treated very good out there, when we come back we will tell all other people that we come across that it was very bad experience, avoid going to that particular place, or the people are not at all cooperative, the people do not bother at all to look at you or to attend you or to make you comfortable, sort of. The rules are very stringy, like it is very complicated, you are not good treated well out there. So if these bad things are uh, spread into the other people, then the tourism is affected, also that country gets a bad name. So such things should be avoided, and therefore it is very important to be very cautious when either we go to the to other country or other country people come to our place. Similarly, whenever we have inter within the nation also, so if we are welcome and if we are really guided good by the people in the nation also, we feel happy, and we feel like visiting that place again. Otherwise, sometimes what happens that even if the place, that particular place is very good, it's very interesting, or it is very can say like a hill station, or the climate is very good, but still people avoid going there because the people there or the treatment they got there is not good sometimes. So this also plays a very important role in the development of tourism. So however good the facilities are, if the treatment is not good, if the responses are not good, people would avoid going to such places. Moving ahead, giving priority to ensure safe transport and security facilities for the tourists, amenities of reasonably good standard, availability of good accommodation, good washroom facilities on the travel routes is of great significance in promoting tourism. It is also very important to pay special attention to the special needs of handicapped tourists. So, giving priority to ensure safe transport and security facilities for the tourist. This means that the tourists should be sure that they should have a confirmation, or rather they should have the feeling in their mind that their safety is there, they are safe. For that they should have safe transport. Like what happens sometimes that we book a destination, or we tell a transport person to take us to a destination, but then that person might drop a tourist in the mid of the way, and he might tell them that they have already reached the destination. So and then the tourist, when they come out of the transport, they feel that they are just clueless, like where to go, what to do, whom to ask for help. Such things should not happen, as they are our guest, or if we go somewhere we are some others guests, and so they should keep our safety as the priority. So tourists are always given the safety, or always should be given safety, or the safety of the tourists is very very important, also their security. Now for example, like if we come to know about some country or some place that uh, there are very lot of thieves in that place, or like if you move out of your hotel late in the night, you are sure to be robbed. Will you prefer to go to such place? Would you like to, given a choice, would you like to go to such place where you are not safe, like where weapons are there are no restrictions on the weapons, they can use the weapons freely in few countries? So if it is there, you will be scared, you won't be willing to go to such countries wherein you can be stabbed, you can be robbed, you can be beaten up by by the street robbers out there. So you won't really feel very safe and secure to go to such places. So the it is very important that the priority should be given, a lot of importance should be given for the safety and security of the tourists. Amenities of reasonably good standard. Amenities is are the facilities, like when you stay in a hotel, like uh, so there are few things which you expect, like depending upon the rate or depending upon what they have or actually shown you on the net, you have an expectation of the same standards of the same levels, so that should be maintained. It should not be like something else is shown, but when you actually go there, it is something else. It is not of that standard, it is of a very poor quality. The rooms are not clean, the beddings are not really nicely washed and clean and in place. So if such things happen, people will not be happy, and it will definitely affect tourism. So whatever amenities of which standard are uh, decided or are promised should be given. Also availability of good accommodation. Now if in a place there is no good accommodation facility, although the place is very beautiful, but then you don't have anything good to stay there, you don't have good options for a stay there, so people won't prefer going there, because there's a big question where we are going to stay. So if the stay, like when you go somewhere, you are so tired for the whole day of traveling and then sightseeing and having fun, that you feel that whenever in the night when you want to relax, you should have a proper place to relax. You should have a proper place where you can actually have a good rest. So the accommodation facilities, the stay should be there of good quality, so that people can be attracted. Good washroom facilities on the travel route is of great significance in promoting tourism. So definitely yes, good quality of washrooms, good quality and properly maintained washrooms is one of the necessities very badly needed in all the countries on the way of your traveling. So on the roads or in the trains or in the uh, flights, there has to be good um, washroom facilities available. So these are the things which are very basic things, but are of great importance as far as travel and tourism is concerned. It is also very important to pay special attention to the special needs of the handicapped tourists. So now generally we think, or generally the normal course always thinks about the normal people, but then there are some people who are handicapped, and their needs should also be given importance, and their needs should be also taken care of. So there should be provision for the special needs of such handicapped tourists. It is important to take a few primary precautions in order to preserve the historical heritage sites. It is essential that few things should be avoided at any instance. For example, vandalizing or defacing the heritage monuments and sites. Now, so many times, like the main attraction of the tourists is the monuments. But just imagine that you are going to Egypt, all the way to Egypt, to see the monuments of the pyramids. Now, you happen to go to a pyramid and you find that it is in a very bad condition. It is not at all maintained, and it is like people have come and scribbled all over, and everywhere it is spitted around, and uh, also the place you're going to is not really clean, or the people there are not at all warm and welcoming. They are like they are not bothered. So will you really feel like going there, however good the monument is? So it is very very important that the monuments should be kept in proper condition. They should have proper facilities, and the people should avoid um, scribbling on them, or in any type just spoiling or causing harm to those monuments. So um, it is a heritage. Monuments are heritage, so it is not good that they are defamed, or they are just not taken care of, or rather they are tried to destroy or cause harm to those monuments or such sites. So that should be taken care of, and few measures should be taken to preserve these monuments. Not very extensive ones, but at least some preliminary, that is, some small steps should be taken, like at least cleaning should be done regularly, and there should be some caretakers, or you can say some team to have a watch on the tourists, so that when they come they do not touch those things, or they do not try to cause any harm to the monuments. In order to avoid it, everybody should refrain from activities like writing on walls, or carving on trees, paint ancient monuments in garish colors, etc. Lack of good amenities in the precincts of the heritage sites causes filthiness. Now, therefore, we can take one example here, like say some fort. Now, these forts are this fort is a monument. So this fort, when the local people here go to see the fort, they try to um, write their names on the walls, or they try to um, carve on the trees, on the trunk of the trees, like just to have a mark that I have been here. So they just carve their names, or their friends names or something. And see, like, someone went there and he carved his name, and after a few months or few weeks you happen to reach there. Will you really like someone's name written on the walls? Like, the fort is Shivaji Maharaj's fort, and the name written is there, like Avinash, or something Avi, or Sam, or some name is written on that. No, we will really not like that. So it is our responsibility, or it is the responsibility of the locals as well, that whenever we visit the places, we should not try to harm them, or we should not scribble. Then we eat those um, packed instant foods, and then we throw the wrappers there itself, the biscuit wrappers, or the um, Lays wrappers, wafers wrappers. We eat it and we just throw it there. So that's a very bad practice. It should be thrown in the dustbin. Otherwise, it gives a very bad impression. Also, this is what the precautions can be taken by the people. But then, when it comes to the maintenance part of these monuments, just imagine that the forts of Shivaji Maharaj, you have a picture in your mind, right? That it must be a stone built, or can be, built with mud or something. So natural colors are expected, because those are forts, and in those times natural colors were used. But then if you happen to visit some such monument, and when you reach there you find on it the monument painted in a neon color or a fluorescent color, you'll be really shocked because that was not what you expected, or that was not the original thing which was. So even if there has to be a different color, it can be similar color which was to the original, like if they are unable to get the similar things. So it should be near to the original, and it should not be very vague or very different. Lack of good amenities in the presence of the heritage sites cause filthiness. Now, there should be proper facilities in or around the site, around the monument. Like there should be a washroom, there should be something to eat, then there should be at least water available. So, all these basic things, or which things, such things which are very important, those should be available near the monument or near the site or inside the site, whichever, whatever is possible. It is very essential for the tourists that pamphlets, guides, and history books about a tourist site be available in their own language. Hence, such literature should be made available in various languages. It would be helpful if the taxi drivers are trained to converse in more than one languages. They may also be trained as tourist guides. Okay, now this is really very important that the tourist pamphlets, there are pamphlets and there are guides, or and there are history books which give us more information about that particular place. So this written information which we get about that place in the books, history books, or in the pamphlets, or the fact files of that particular place, or it can be a small handbook also related to a particular place. So if these writings are in the language which the tourist can understand, then it will be very helpful to him, it will be very beneficial to them. Like if a a person comes, and if he wants to visit a particular place in India, and if that particular place's information is written in German language as well, it would be very helpful, and he would be really happy, and he would feel like people are really like the Indians are really caring about the Germans as well. If the French person comes, and the information is available in French language as well, so he will be really pleased. He will feel a bit relaxed, and it will be very easy and convenient for him to understand about the place or the details about the place. So it is very important that these history books or these informations are available in different languages, so as to make it convenient and comfortable for the people of different languages. Also these tourist guides, if they know more languages, it is very helpful, and it is like these people feel very good, and they are able to understand it better if the guides can speak in their language. Also if the mm, also if the taxi drivers are also trained to converse in some more languages, like sometimes it becomes even difficult for them to speak in Hindi or English. So if they are trained to speak in Hindi, English, and if possible few more languages, then it would be definitely be of a great help, and that will definitely help in developing the tourism of that country. So these are the few things which are really important if the country wants to develop their tourism department or their tourism activities. So here we come to an end of the development of tourism also. So I think that is all. We can stop here for today, and we will continue in our next class, next lecture. Till then, you children can definitely go through the lesson, read the lesson, and as and when I tell you to read the lesson, please do so, because at the end of when we finish this chapter, in the next class, we will have an MCQ test on this chapter, and for that, it will be all in text, small questions. So it will be very important and it will be of very great help for you all to, if you read the lesson. So keep reading it again and again so that it becomes easy for you to answer the questions as well. Okay, thank you so much. If you have any doubts, you can definitely get back to me. Thank you so much. I hope it is of a great help to you.